On June 30th, Archangel Michael is begging you to stop trusting the wrong person. You're in more danger than you realize. He orders you to open this now before betrayal strikes without mercy. He has been watching in silence, holding his sword of fire, standing between you and the enemy in disguise so near. Archangel Michael has cried out your name in the spirit, but you did not hear. Your trust drowned out his warning. And now, on the edge of June 30th, he speaks with urgency. You are walking beside someone cloaked in false light. They smile with comfort but hide a blade behind their back. You think they love you, support you, or even protect you. But their heart is full of jealousy, deceit, and silent curses. This message is not for everyone, but it is definitely for you. He begged heaven for one final chance to reach your ears. That's why you're seeing this now, not by chance or scroll. The person you keep defending is the one betraying you. And betrayal will not come with warning or hesitation. It will come swiftly like a knife through open trust. June 30th is not just another date. It is a spiritual day. It marks the hour where truth must separate from illusion. Michael has been assigned to speak now or never again. You must understand, this is your last moment to listen. What you do next determines whether you rise or break. Someone has prayed for your downfall in secret shadows. They mimic love so well you confuse them for your blessing. But Archangel Michael sees beyond the performance. He sees the midnight whispers, the envy in their eyes, and he has shielded you too long without your awareness. But that shield cannot hold if you keep trusting the lie. He's not asking anymore. He's ordering you to open this. Read, listen, and act before betrayal strikes without mercy. You were never meant to suffer what's being plotted. But heaven can only intervene if you finally obey now. Type I'm following to get the blessing 9999. He walks beside you with laughter on his tongue, a voice so kind, so measured, so perfectly rehearsed. You tell him secrets, unaware they fuel silent curses. Archangel Michael has witnessed the unspoken game, the one where you lose and they always seem to win. They dress their lies in compassion just for your eyes. They ask just enough to know your next fragile step. And every time they nod in agreement, they plant doubt. This is not paranoia. This is revelation breaking chains. Michael is not whispering. He is shouting through heaven. You told yourself loyalty means never questioning them. But what if loyalty has become your most painful cage? They know your triggers, your tears, your deep fears, and they use your softness like a sharpened weapon. They don't stab. No, they slice so it goes unnoticed. You are bleeding spiritually, and Michael has seen it all. This message is heaven's official interruption in your pain. You've been chosen to know the truth before it's too late. Because on June 30th, something dark is scheduled to strike, and it will come from the one you least suspect. The enemy doesn't always look like your enemy. Sometimes they show up looking like the answer. They say the right things and mimic divine timing. They cry with you, celebrate with you, break bread. But when your eyes close, they curse your name. They sabotage your blessings and call it coincidence. They block your growth and call it being realistic. But Michael sees intentions like light cuts through fog. And he has never been more serious than this moment. You are being set up, and you must cut ties quickly. This is not about bitterness. It's about survival. Your destiny cannot stretch its wings near this person. They are the tether keeping you grounded in shadows. Michael has stood between their hexes and your house. Their plans already failed because heaven interfered. But heaven will not force you to see what's now clear. You must choose to believe what your spirit already knows. And this message is confirmation of what you've ignored. That's why June 30th matters. It closes a door in spirit. A door that cannot stay open without grave consequences. Your life is not just a series of random moments. It's a divine arrangement being poisoned by their presence. You felt stuck, delayed, exhausted, always starting over. But you never asked if someone close is the real reason. Michael has, and he knows the answer. Is yes. Yes, they are draining your energy like a silent leech. Yes, they've been secretly mocking your faith and dreams. Yes, they are working with forces that do not honor God. And yes, they will betray you when the timing is right. Unless you act now, the betrayal will wound you deeply. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. They are not just a person. You're dealing with a pattern. A cycle that keeps repeating through familiar faces. Michael has fought this battle in your bloodline before. You are the first to receive this much clarity, this alert. Heaven is giving you spiritual eyes and armor right now. But armor unused will not stop the coming destruction. You must put on discernment and take off denial, because denial is exactly what the enemy thrives on. As long as you keep justifying their behavior, you bleed. And the more you bleed, the weaker your destiny becomes. You were born to lead, not to be leashed by deception. And the person you keep protecting is holding the leash. Look closer. Who do you constantly defend without peace? Who drains your joy even when they smile at you? Who never claps when you win but always speaks when you fall? Michael has traced the spiritual fingerprints. It's them. The one you love might be the one delaying your light. And this is why he's begging, not warning, begging. Because heaven hates to watch chosen ones walk into traps. Especially traps disguised as familiar affection. You can feel this message vibrating in your chest. That's not fear. That's recognition. That's spiritual recall. Your angels have tried for years to get you to see. But now Michael himself had to step in because of time. The danger is increasing, not decreasing. They are about to make a move that will alter everything. And it won't be obvious. It will come as a favor, a suggestion, a request that seems helpful but isn't. That moment is the betrayal wrapped in silk. You must say no before it ever reaches your doorstep. They will accuse you of changing, of acting distant. Let them. You're not here to please your destroyers. You're here to fulfill your assignment with power. Michael will walk with you through the separation. He will give you peace as you pull away. He will fill your heart when the silence hits. And heaven will honor your bravery with blessing. But you must make the decision before June 30th ends. Because after that hour, spiritual protections shift. And those who remain tied to poison will feel the sting. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 9090. You've always wondered why breakthrough delays lingered. Why doors almost open, then close without cause. Why every relationship, every opportunity, felt near but not real. Why joy visited you only in flashes and never stayed long. The answer is not spiritual laziness, it's spiritual sabotage. The one closest to you is the source of subtle interference. They may not know it fully, but they are being used. Used by forces that fear your awakening and your fire. Archangel Michael has traced every delay to their shadow. And now, he's laying out the blueprint to your escape. Heaven will not bless what you continue to tolerate. Not because you're unworthy, but because you're endangered. If a blessing is released into contaminated space, it dies. And the enemy knows that. That's why he keeps them close. Not to bless you, but to corrupt the flow around you. You were meant to move in divine acceleration by now, but your spiritual GPS keeps rerouting around their energy. Michael has stood still, sword in hand, guarding your timeline, but your continued loyalty to the wrong person grieves him. He knows your heart, but he also knows their intention. They pretend to care, yet rejoice when you struggle. They give, but only to stay close enough to control. They support, but only in public, never in spirit. Michael has seen the contrast between their words and heart. Heaven has reviewed the spiritual contracts you never saw. The one where they've agreed, knowingly or not, to dim your light to make their own look brighter. And you've been too noble to call it what it is, betrayal. But what you're calling grace is now disobedience. The longer you ignore the signs, the louder judgment echoes. You've been here before, haven't you? The same dream deferred. The same bulbous moment. The same betrayal in a different form. It's not coincidence, it's spiritual repetition. A loop designed to wear you down slowly. But this loop ends when truth is honored fully. Michael says, the sword is at the root now. That means heaven will not just cut the fruit. He's cutting the root of false relationships entirely. But only if you allow the separation to begin now. Type I am protected to get the blessing 7171. You were never meant to be everyone's healer. Some were sent to drain, not receive your anointing. And the one near you, the wrong one, is a drain. You've been shielding them from consequences meant for them. And in doing so, you've absorbed suffering that wasn't yours. Your body is tired not from work, but spiritual leaks. Your mind is fogged not from stress, but constant masking. Michael sees what your soul has been too kind to admit. He has fought battles you never dreamed existed, on your behalf. But now, your silence gives strength to your adversary. June 30th isn't just a warning, it's a reset. It's the last divine moment to choose sight over sentiment. To choose peace over patterns, discernment over duty. If you delay again, the next lesson will hurt deeply. Michael doesn't speak in fear, he speaks in clarity. He knows your spirit is ready, even if your heart hesitates. You can't pray your way out of what you permit. You can't fast your way around someone God said leave. Spiritual action is now required, not just spiritual emotion. And heaven is watching how you respond this time. Heaven isn't silent. It's strategic. That's why you keep seeing confirmations like this. That's why even your dreams have turned dark lately. Because Michael is trying to shake you out of spiritual slumber. The betrayal won't be loud. It'll be soft, timed, and costly. And it'll come masked as favor, just like before. But this time, it could cost you something permanent. Something heaven isn't willing to let you lose. That's why this message exists, to intercept disaster, to awaken you to what's been stealing from your future. You keep asking God for signs, and He keeps sending them, just not in ways you expected. Sometimes the most spiritual thing is to walk away, not with bitterness but with alignment. Not to prove a point, but to protect purpose. Michael isn't asking for rage, he's asking for obedience. Obedience to what you already know deep inside. You were chosen for something they cannot go with you to. And no matter how familiar they feel, they are a delay. This is your moment to choose freedom over familiarity. If this word has confirmed your spirit and awakened your boldness, consider supporting with a super thanks of $20. Your support allows us to keep releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength for others walking through betrayal into blessing. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, You can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance tailor-made for your breakthrough. Type I am delivered to get the blessing 8844. You've outgrown the energy of who they pretend to be, but you've kept yourself small to avoid being alone. Michael understands that fear, but reminds you, heaven never subtracts without replacing. The wrong person's removal is the beginning of power. You won't fall apart. You will finally come together. And on the other side of June 30th, your life will accelerate in ways never imagined. But only if you listen now and sever what's strangling you. You don't need their approval. You need your wings back. You've tried to pray for them, love them into change, offer forgiveness before they even admit their fault. But Archangel Michael is clear. They don't want healing. They want control. They want your light, not your love. You think you're showing compassion, but it's costing you. Every moment you stay, you train heaven to pause. Not because God is cruel, but because God is just. How could he pour into hands that are still bound? You are chosen, but your covenant is contaminated. And healing cannot begin until harm is finally released. This isn't about hatred, it's about holiness. Michael isn't leading you into war. He's leading you into truth. Truth that strips the masks from familiar betrayal. The danger you're in is spiritual, not just emotional. The enemy has mapped your weakness, your heart. He uses your loyalty against you, your empathy as a weapon. This is why you keep losing yourself while helping others. You were never called to burn for someone else's darkness. But you've been doing exactly that, daily, quietly, painfully. Michael says, enough. It ends now or it ends you. You've spent nights asking why the same wounds reopen. Why peace comes only when you're apart from them. Why dreams always feel like warnings instead of rest. And now you know. You are spiritually tethered to danger. They feed off your light and never refill your spirit. That's why you feel numb after talking to them. Why your intuition screams but your mouth stays shut. Heaven isn't confused. You are just emotionally entangled. But heaven won't wait for you to catch up anymore. June 30th is the deadline. Mercy still exists, but it's thinning. They don't need more prayer. They need distance. Because prayer without boundaries becomes spiritual bleeding. Michael is not a passive angel. He is a warrior. And he is tired of guarding someone who keeps inviting wolves. You've asked for breakthrough, but held hands with blockage. You've begged for peace, but stayed married to confusion. You can't heal if your healer is also your harm. You can't rise while you're seated beside your saboteur. Michael is begging not out of desperation, but divine urgency. He knows what happens if you ignore this one more time. Type I am ready to get blessing 7272. The person you're trying to fix is not your assignment. They are a distraction, planted to consume your timeline. You've mistaken familiarity for destiny again and again. And now, heaven has stopped whispering and started shouting. This is the final hour for silent loyalty to end. Because their presence has become your permission to suffer. And heaven will not honor what you refuse to release. Michael knows your heart, your intentions, your history. But he's here now for your future, not your past. And he needs your cooperation, not just your cries. The betrayal won't look like a knife. It'll look like help. A favor. A suggestion. A door you shouldn't walk through. They will offer you something just before June 30th. But Michael warns, it is baked wrapped in gold. Take it, and you'll be trading purpose for pain. Reject it, and heaven will confirm your strength. This moment is a test, a spiritual crossroads, and every angel assigned to your path is watching. The next move you make echoes in the invisible realm. Make it count, make it holy. This relationship is like poisoned water from a beautiful well. You return, not realizing each sip steals your breath. You deserve more than conditional affection and spiritual decay. You were designed for divine partnerships, not spiritual warfare. Yet you stayed out of guilt, out of fear, out of habit. That's not loyalty. That's bondage disguised as love. Michael is cutting the cord, but you must not tie it back. The enemy thrives on open loops and unfinished exits. This time you must walk away completely, spiritually sealed. You are not weak for leaving, you are wise for obeying. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 9090. You were born into a generation that tolerates betrayal as normal, that teaches you to normalize toxic loyalty. But heaven has always separated the wheat from the weeds. Michael is reminding you of your sacred bloodline, one that carries warrior DNA, discernment, divine sight. The time for silence is over. Now comes severance. You are not a prisoner. You are a prophet in training. But prophets cannot dwell among serpents and stay pure. You must cleanse your circle with fire, not comfort. Only then will heaven release what has been held back. The dreams you abandoned will return. The clarity you lost will reawaken. The fire in your spirit will rise again. But first, you must obey the call to release. It will feel like grief, but it's really resurrection. Michael will walk with you as you untether. You will cry, but you will not crumble. You will ache, but you will not fall. You will rise with more power than ever known. And the heavens will roar in approval when you do. This isn't just about cutting someone off. It's deeper. It's a soul-level untangling that's long overdue. Archangel Michael doesn't deal in half measures or delay. He's come to pull you from the grip of invisible bondage. The one who smiles at you has been draining you dry, and your spirit is too sacred to remain tethered to harm. You've given grace, extended time, prayed through silence. But now heaven demands an action, not another apology. June 30th is more than a deadline. It's divine alignment. And alignment means letting go of all that blocks God's hand. This person was once a lesson, but you tried to make them home. They were a stepping stone, not a destiny anchor. But your heart blurred the line between familiar and faithful. Michael saw how hard you tried to make it work. He saw the tears, the patience, the self-blame. But your calling is too important to remain buried. And God will not compete with confusion for your attention. This is why the delay in your promise has lingered. Your covenant with them is canceling your covenant with heaven. And that cannot continue, not one day past June 30th. The separation may come suddenly, even violently. Not because heaven is cruel, but because mercy is sharp. When God sees hesitation in his chosen, he moves fast. Sometimes he ends things in a way that you can't reverse. You may feel pain, confusion, or betrayal in that moment. But later, you'll recognize it as protection in disguise. Michael has begged because he knows the weight of delay. He's not pleading from weakness, but from knowledge of consequence. What's coming is too big, too pure, too holy for compromise. And the wrong person cannot follow you into that space. Type I am separating to get the blessing 8181. You've been spiritually sleeping beside a thief of destiny. They steal your confidence, your clarity, your identity. You show up smaller to protect their ego. You delay your growth to avoid offending their comfort. But this is not humility, it's spiritual self-abandonment. Michael sees that every time you shrink, angels grieve. Because heaven crafted you for power, not pleasing. This person is a mirror reflecting your fear back at you. But now it's time to shatter that mirror and rise. Because your future demands a stronger, clearer version of you. They were never supposed to stay this long. They entered through trauma, through timing, through sympathy. But their season ended long ago, and you kept them anyway. And because of that, the land around you stopped growing. Your relationships feel dry. Your spirit feels numb. Your gifts feel locked in waiting. It's not your imagination. It's the cost of keeping spiritual parasites close. Michael says, you cannot stay clean while holding hands with dirt. Even if that dirt looks like comfort. Even if it once felt safe. God does not delay blessings. He delays people's disobedience. This decision will not be emotional. It must be prophetic. You must move even when your heart doesn't understand. Obedience is not always about comfort. It's about clarity. Michael is guiding you to a freedom you've never known. But that freedom only arrives after the severance. You're not betraying them. You're honoring your divine timeline. You're not being cruel. You're choosing sacred over social. Your silence will be misunderstood, but heaven will roar. And you'll feel lighter, even if the pain screams for a moment. Because truth always frees what lies are held hostage. Type I am aligned to get the blessing 6363. God has been whispering this message through signs for months. Through random scriptures, unexpected dreams, silent unrest. But you've kept brushing it off, calling it coincidence. Now Archangel Michael has stepped forward with heavenly fire. Because heaven will not lose you to disobedience. You've prayed for guidance. This is the answer. You've prayed for signs. This is the signal. You've begged for peace. This is the path. But it comes at the price of separation. One final cut for one permanent restoration. You are not losing them. You are regaining yourself. The self that used to dream without fear. The self that once felt joy without guilt. The self that believed in purpose without compromise. Michael has protected that version of you all along. And now he's guiding you back to it. Not with rage, but with holy awareness. This part of your journey is sacred and sharp. But you are strong enough to complete it. And when you do, heaven will respond with miracles. You've been asking heaven for restoration, breakthrough, favor. But heaven cannot deposit glory where deception lies. Every time you ask, God looks at what surrounds you. Michael stands with his sword, watching the interference. It's not that you aren't ready. It's that they can't come with you. God has spoken clearly, come out from among them. But you stayed, hoping, praying, excusing their behavior. The angels have wept in silence over your slow obedience. And now, silence has turned into thunder on June 30th. The thunder that says, choose now or forfeit everything later. Michael sees the potential in your spirit, blazing like dawn. But potential without obedience is a promise lost in time. You were not made for spiritual confusion or soul fatigue. You were not created to fix people who sabotage your spirit. You are chosen, anointed, rare, and deeply set apart. But your delay in separation is putting heaven on hold. God will not compete with your comfort zone or denial. He is holy, and what is holy cannot partner with poison. Michael isn't angry. He's urgent. This is spiritual CPR. and your response determines how your destiny breathes next. You're not waiting on God anymore. God is waiting on you. You said, "I'm not sure if it's time." You've asked, "What if they change?" That's not your job. You've cried, "But I love them." Love does not equal permission. They are harming you. Spiritually, emotionally, silently, and the longer you allow it, the deeper the damage spreads. You are leaking blessings through the cracks of this connection. Michael's hands are tied by your indecision. Heaven cannot override your free will, only warn it. And today, this is your divine and final warning. You didn't survive what you did just to stay here. God pulled you out of fire to see you ascend. But your elevation is blocked by emotional attachments. Attachments that feel like love but operate like chains. Michael knows who they are, even if you pretend not to. He's traced every delay, every wound, every foggy day. And they all lead back to this relationship, this false link. You are a fortress, not a hotel for hidden enemies. It's time to evict what heaven never invited. Because blessings cannot dwell in divided altars. Type "I am awakened" to get the blessing 4545. You don't need another confirmation. You've already received 20. The dreams, the signs, the draining peace, the unrest. All of it has been heaven calling you to walk away. And still, you stayed. Because fear disguises itself as love. Because your loyalty is louder than your discernment. But loyalty to the wrong one is disobedience to God. And disobedience invites delay, loss, and emotional collapse. Michael is not just asking you to separate. He's commanding it. Because this is war. And the cost is your future. Don't trade your crown for company that poisons you. This separation won't leave you empty. It will make you holy. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, you will cry. Yes, they will accuse. But pain is often the gate to spiritual clarity. And heaven always restores what you release in obedience. Let them go. Let their opinions fall silent in your ears. God will vindicate you in ways louder than words. Michael will walk beside you until peace returns. You will not be alone, you will be aligned. And alignment will do what years of striving could not. It will open the floodgates of every delayed blessing. This is not about cutting people off recklessly. It's about discerning who carries God's scent and who doesn't. You've tried every way to justify keeping them near. But Michael says the time for reasoning is past. Now comes the fire, the sword, the sanctified shift. Heaven is calling you into separation, not to punish, but to protect and position you for unprecedented glory. And glory cannot walk beside jealousy, bitterness, manipulation. You were built to shine, not to shadow your light for peace. This is your spiritual emancipation, if you choose it. Type "I am free" to get the blessing 6262. They will notice your distance and feel your silence. But your assignment demands more than social acceptance. God is not building your destiny around their comfort. He's building it on truth, courage, and fierce obedience. This is not personal, it's prophetic. And you are not cruel for choosing clarity over chaos. Michael knows the sacrifice. Heaven will honor it. You're not being punished, you're being preserved. You're not being abandoned, you're being aligned. And very soon, you'll see why it had to be this way. There is no elevation without separation. This is heaven's law. Before every rising, there is a holy shedding. Michael has watched you carry burdens not assigned to you. You wear someone else's weight as if it's your responsibility. But it is not noble to bleed for what God said release. The illusion of loyalty is costing you your light, And now, with June 30th at the gate, time demands a choice. You cannot be both healed and held by harm. You can't be both crowned and chained. And heaven is done waiting for you to decide. This person you defend will not clap for your victory. They smile now, but their spirit crumbles at your growth. Michael sees it, how they panic when you start glowing, how they subtly discourage, question, and minimize you. Their words are small daggers wrapped in concern, and your soul knows the truth, but your heart defends the lie. This is the most dangerous kind of betrayal, quiet, consistent, disguised, and it has become a spiritual cancer, spreading through delay. You are not broken, just bound to someone who benefits from it. But heaven is severing the tie if you let it. You have been mislabeling their behavior as flaw in love. But God does not send confusion disguised as affection. What you're calling patience is really fear of abandonment. What you're calling forgiveness is really spiritual avoidance. Michael says the true test of this hour is not kindness, it's obedience. And obedience means exit. Now, this isn't about bitterness or revenge. It's about realignment. You've known too much to stay this blind. You've grown too far to circle back into chaos. Your destiny is calling louder than your emotions. They were sent as a season, not a foundation. You built on sand because they made you feel needed. But now the storms have revealed their true intent. Your house is shaking because your agreement is spiritual. And Michael is issuing the final call to dismantle the contract. Do not give another hour of energy to what's draining you. Do not lend another moment of love to what devalues you. You were created for more than convincing someone to stay. The person meant for you won't need persuasion to honor you. And your future won't be built on constantly explaining your worth. If this word has confirmed your spirit and awakened your boldness, consider supporting with a super thanks of $20. Your support allows us to keep releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength for others walking through betrayal into blessing. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance tailor-made for your breakthrough. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. You are not rejecting them, you are choosing you. And in choosing yourself, you're choosing God's will. Heaven rejoices over the moment you finally obey. Because delayed obedience is still disobedience. You're not confused, you're convicted. That's different. Conviction is when your spirit knows the truth before your mind does. And right now, your spirit is screaming for separation. Your inner world is no longer willing to play pretend. Michael is ready to escort you out of the pain. But you must walk away before the door locks in spirit. Some doors are mercy in disguise when they slam shut. This one will not reopen once June 30th passes. Because it carries too much weight, too much compromise. God is not cruel. He's sovereign. He protects with finality. You've been dancing in delay because you're afraid of being alone. But Michael reminds you, better alone than attacked quietly. The person who drains you is not your home. They are your hostage taker in disguise. You cannot rebuild your soul beside someone who benefits from its ruins. This is your jailbreak, and the gate is wide open. They may act confused by your silence. They may guilt you with "after all I've done." But heaven knows what they did in the dark. Michael saw the manipulation behind your tears. He saw the mocking behind your dreams. He saw the fear they instilled when you dared to grow. Now it's your time to reclaim your power, your vision. They cannot be saved by your staying. They must face truth. And you cannot be delivered until you walk away. Because deliverance is tied to separation, not conversation. Type I am called to get the blessing 3030. You are not wrong for choosing the path of peace. You are not selfish for protecting your assignment. You are not cold for walking away from chaos. You are finally aligned with the voice that matters, God's. This is not your final chapter. It's your fresh beginning. Heaven is already lining up restoration on the other side. Michael will lead you through the fire without smoke touching you. Because when the righteous obey, God clears the path. You will feel the release in your chest when it's done. And you'll know freedom was always waiting for your yes. The air you've been breathing has been filtered through fear. Every inhale carries the residue of their control. Every exhale feels labored under the pressure to please. Archangel Michael has seen it, how you've dimmed your spirit. You silence your truth to avoid their reaction. You shrink your dreams so they don't feel small. You bend your vision so they don't walk away. But now heaven says, breathe freely or stay suffocated. The time for gentle negotiations has ended in spirit. Your freedom is now a non-negotiable from the throne of God. You were not created to tiptoe through your own calling. The light within you was never meant to be hidden. And the person beside you, though familiar, fears your light. Michael sees it clearly. They benefit more from your silence. They offer validation only when it keeps you stuck. They withhold love when you dare to evolve. This is not love. It's a leash. And God wants it broken. You've confused their proximity with purpose. But all proximity does is keep poison in reach. And heaven will not bless what still tolerates decay. You feel tired, not because you're weak, but because you're resisting. Your spirit has been pushing against the tie for months. That friction is not confusion. It's divine resistance. Michael has placed every delay to show you their impact. What once looked like coincidence is now confirmation. They do not carry the oil to go where you're going. And you cannot carry both your calling and their chaos. This is the divine trade, peace for proximity. Your next level requires room, space they refuse to honor. Letting go is not failure. It's finally breathing again. They may have helped you once, stood by you once. But loyalty to a moment cannot anchor your future. Even Judas dined with Jesus before betrayal kissed him. Michael reminds you, not all who walk with you are for you. Not all who know you honor you. Not all support is sacred. And the most dangerous ones are those who know your wounds. Because they use compassion as camouflage. They give just enough to keep you questioning, but never enough to truly build you. The pattern is poison. Subtle, patient, deadly. Type I am breathing to get the blessing 4646. This is why your dreams have been chaotic lately. Why you wake up tired, even after sleep. Because the spirit realm is shaking your foundation. Michael has been battling in silence while you stayed entangled. He's shielded your mind from breakdown, your heart from collapse. But heaven is not a crutch, it's a call. And you are being called to walk, not crawl. To rise, not repeat. To breathe, not beg for room. Your alignment cannot afford another cycle with them. And June 30th is your final access to divine exit. After this moment, heaven will move forward, with or without you. Because prophetic timelines don't pause for indecision. God is too committed to your purpose to let pity lead. And pity is why you've stayed, prayed, delayed. You feel responsible for their healing, their stability. But Michael says, you cannot save what refuses growth. You are not their answer. You were never meant to be. You are a mirror of what they fear, freedom. And your liberation will expose what they've tried to suppress. That is why they resist your rising, because it reveals their hiding. They know who you are, even if they never say it. They sense your authority, your light, your divine scent. And it intimidates them, because they've grown through manipulation. Michael says, they are not confused, they are strategic. And their strategy ends the moment you walk away. Because the enemy loses access once obedience begins. Your yes to God is louder than their guilt. Your distance is deliverance. Your silence is sanctifying. Heaven will fill every void you fear will follow. And joy will replace the ache you're bracing for. Type I am whole to get the blessing 8888. There is no future in carrying what wounds you. No favor in protecting what heaven has exposed. You are the gatekeeper of your own peace now. Michael is not here to soothe you. He's here to shift you. You've been refined by fire, prepared for such a time. But that time begins with a single step away. God will not fail to replace what you release. Let the false fall. Let the silence speak. Let peace be louder. And let this separation be your resurrection. Because your breath belongs to freedom, not to fear. This is not a story of loss. It's a story of return. Return to self. Return to strength. Return to your assignment. Archangel Michael isn't watching you walk away in sadness. He's watching you walk toward the version of you heaven designed. Because what you're letting go of was never rooted in truth. It only felt like love because you poured your purity into it. But their response never matched your investment. They only showed up when it benefited their ego. And now that your eyes are open, heaven is rejoicing. You're not losing them. You're regaining the most sacred part of you. They painted your love as an obligation, not a gift. They made your presence feel like debt, not devotion. And you kept giving, hoping they'd one day honor your spirit. But they couldn't, because your light reveals their lack. Michael has watched the slow drain of your identity. How you adapted just to be tolerated, not celebrated. Heaven calls that theft, not partnership. Your worth isn't determined by how long you can endure pain. Your value is proven by how quickly you honor alignment. And alignment demands release, full, fearless, final. They were a weight, not wings. Yet you've been dragging them into destiny's gates. But gates don't open for confusion. They open for clarity. And the moment you let go, your path becomes clear. You'll feel purpose again. You'll hear heaven again. You'll recognize yourself in the mirror again. Not the dimmed-down version. Not the silent soul. But the roaring, radiant spirit you once were. Michael didn't just show up to protect you. He came to restore. And restoration begins where compromise ends. You have nothing to prove to them anymore. Their refusal to honor you isn't your fault. It's their ceiling. You kept thinking if you gave more, they'd wake up. But Michael says, no amount of giving can awaken the jealous. Jealousy doesn't respond to love. It feeds on proximity. And now that the distance has begun, their mask will fall. Do not be surprised when their tone shifts, their stories twist. They must rewrite the narrative to protect their ego. But heaven knows the truth, and heaven defends the obedient. Let them speak. Let God respond. Type I am restored to get the blessing 9898. You are crossing a line that cannot be uncrossed. A divine threshold between bondage and becoming. And you will feel grief, but not because you're wrong. You'll grieve the time, the energy, the version of you that stayed. That's normal. Let the grief pass like a cleansing rain. But do not mistake sadness for a sign to return. Michael says the grief is evidence you're waking up. It's the sound of your soul exhaling years of restraint. What you feel now is holy. It's the ache before the rise. And after it clears, you'll breathe deeper than ever before. They were never your responsibility. You mistook their potential as your purpose. But you are not God. You are guided. Your hands were meant to build, not babysit. You cannot change someone who enjoys your confusion. And they did, because your fog made them feel important. But your clarity threatens their illusion. That's why they resisted your growth. Not out of concern, but out of fear of becoming irrelevant. Let that truth settle, then let it push you forward. You deserve people who don't feel intimidated by your strength, who don't shrink your dreams so theirs can stand taller, who don't panic when your voice gets louder with truth. Michael is leading you into spaces where you're celebrated, not managed, where your gift isn't trimmed to fit others' comfort, where your fire doesn't scare but inspires. That room exists. It just couldn't hold who you were tethered to. So heaven shook the room, and now the shaking is mercy. Everything removed is being replaced with divine precision. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 5757. This is the beauty of spiritual obedience. It unlocks speed. What delayed for years will come in days. What felt impossible will arrive with ease. Because heaven always moves for the obedient. You said yes to the pain of release. Now prepare for the floodgates of restoration. Michael is already removing invisible obstacles in your path. Heaven is preparing appointments you didn't have to chase. This is the reward for the one who dared to let go. You're not just walking away, you're walking into overflow. There's a divine shift that only activates through surrender. Archangel Michael has seen you walk the line for too long. But now that you've stepped away, something sacred has opened. Obedience was the key, and you finally turned it. You will notice things accelerate without you forcing them. Because what was delayed by disobedience is now in motion. You don't need to chase what heaven is assigning to you. You don't need to strive for what God is already releasing. The moment you let go, you made space for abundance. And abundance never settles in crowded, compromised spaces. Michael has cleared the air around you, literally. You'll feel peace where tension once ruled. You'll sense calm in places that used to suffocate you. Even your body will respond differently, lighter, clearer, stronger. It's not just emotional relief, it's spiritual detox. The ties that drained you were not just emotional cords. They were spiritual agreements, wrapped in smiles and good intentions. But heaven doesn't bless intentions, it blesses alignment. And now that alignment has been restored, overflow begins. Not someday. Now. As you read this, it's already begun. You will find yourself attracting what once felt unreachable. Opportunities, connections, insights, effortlessly. This is not luck. It's divine momentum. But once to be will take wait. Because the spiritual resistance has been removed. Michael did not beg for your freedom in vain. Now he's clearing your atmosphere for acceleration. Doors will open without explanation. People will come who carry honor instead of envy. You'll recognize them by the peace they bring, not confusion. The one you released will try to return. But it won't feel the same, because you're not the same. What once pulled you in will now feel foreign. That's not pride, that's protection. Heaven will not allow you to reattach what it severed. And Michael warns, do not revisit the place you bled. Do not extend new grace to old sabotage. Let the lesson anchor you, not haunt you. Your future cannot afford another round of delay. You didn't survive all that to repeat it. Type I am aligned to get the blessing 3636. Watch how your creativity returns, fast and full. Ideas will flow like rivers unclogged. Your prayers will no longer echo, they'll produce. Your sleep will become peaceful again. It's because your soul is no longer under surveillance. Your spirit lingered in your space, feeding on your fire. Now heaven has swept the house clean, and the oil that was blocked is now pouring freely. You'll find yourself writing again, dreaming again, dare it again. This is your rebirth. Drink it in. Breathe it deep. Even your discernment will sharpen in this season. You'll see people clearly without needing confirmation, because betrayal sharpened your insight like a blade, and heaven will use it to protect your next season. You will feel it instantly, what belongs and what doesn't. That's not trauma speaking. That's wisdom born in warfare. Michael will stand guard as you rebuild from strength. This time, you'll build with boundaries and boldness. This time, your peace won't be sacrificed for connection. You've paid the price, and now overflow is your portion. Let your confidence return without apology. You don't need to explain your glow-up. Those who saw you dim for others will watch you shine, and it will convict them, not because of pride, but because obedience always leaves a trail of favor. Those who questioned your silence will soon see results, not just in what you say, but what begins to grow. Because when heaven moves, everything aligns. Even your enemies will witness the evidence, and Michael will guard the gate so none can sabotage again. Type I am favored to get the blessing 6767. You didn't just survive separation, you activated restoration. Everything the enemy tried to use to keep you stuck has become the very fuel launching you forward. This is how God writes justice, with results, not revenge. You don't need to look back. You are the proof. You are the miracle walking away from manipulation. You are the testimony that heaven still restores fully. To walk boldly, speak truthfully, breathe freely. Overflow isn't just coming, it has begun. And this time, you're ready for it. You've passed the test few have the courage to face. Not a test of strength, but a test of surrender. You let go of what you loved to protect what was divine. And heaven took note, not just of your pain, but your obedience. Archangel Michael has placed a seal over your name. It's not visible in the natural, but in the spiritual realm, it glows. You are marked now, set apart, watched by angels. Hell lost its access when you closed that chapter, and now your name is echoing through divine halls. Heaven is ready to move, because you've moved. You didn't just walk away from a person, you walked away from a pattern. That cycle that plagued your family line, it ends with you. That generational soul tie of loyalty to betrayal, broken. Michael declares you a curse breaker, not a curse bearer. The atmosphere around your name is changing. The same doors that stayed shut will now open with ease. Not because they've changed, but because you have. Obedience has upgraded your authority in the unseen. You will walk into rooms and shift energy without trying. Because light doesn't compete, it simply shines. This is why the warfare was so intense before your release. Why everything felt heavy, tight, chaotic, impossible. The enemy was throwing his final darts at your decision. But you still let go. You still said yes. You still chose God. Now your spirit is lighter because your chains are broken. And heaven always honors the chain breakers. You are walking into rooms you once only prayed about. You'll notice divine appointments that were long overdue. Michael has already begun releasing what was held up, and you will see the evidence faster than you expect. The wrong person kept your name in a delayed atmosphere. Your jealousy weighed on your open doors like lead. Their dishonor blocked the flow of answered prayer. Now that they are gone, the line is clear, and the heavens respond. You're not waiting anymore. You're walking into what's yours, and it will feel like redemption, because it is. This is the season of returned promises. Things you thought were denied are simply delayed blessings, and now the delay has expired. The harvest has been released because you released them. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 7474. You're now moving in divine precision, not trial and error. Discernment is your weapon, and peace is your map. God will guide you with a whisper, not a push. You'll no longer need to force doors. They will recognize you. Favor will announce you before you arrive, because you obeyed when it was hardest to. You didn't just leave. You passed through spiritual fire, and like gold, you are more refined because of it. Michael has seen your tears and your silence. Now heaven is responding with answers and reward. Some will ask, how did it happen so fast? They won't know about the nights you wept in silence. They will know how it broke you to obey. But that's okay. Let your fruit speak for you. The favor you wear now is not normal. It's holy. It didn't come from hustling. It came from surrender. Michael has gone ahead of you to prepare honor. Even those who rejected you will have to respect your rise. You are no longer in the waiting room. You're in the fulfillment phase. And it's just the beginning. Be careful in this season. It's not just about elevation. It's about stewardship. What you carry now is sacred. Protect your peace like it's treasured, because it is. Do not allow familiar spirits back into new spaces. Guard your circle. Guard your schedule. Guard your oil. Not in fear, but in wisdom. Michael is still guarding your path, but wisdom is your role. You are a leader now, not just a survivor. And your life will now bless others through your obedience. This is what it means to walk in full authority. Type I'm elevated to get the blessing 9999. This season is not just about you. It's about legacy. Your obedience broke something in the spirit for generations. What you stopped will not touch your children. What you endured will become someone else's manual. Michael will use your journey to lead others into freedom. You are now a lighthouse for the weary and the trapped. The radiance of your breakthrough will speak without words. God has not forgotten a single moment of your faithfulness. The reward is not just external, it's eternal. And your elevation will echo for years to come. You are walking in freedom now, but freedom must be protected. Not through fear, but through fierce awareness. Archangel Michael didn't fight to pull you from bondage, just to watch you drift back through emotional nostalgia. What you let go of tried to brand itself as necessary. But now you know it was spiritual sabotage in disguise. You must guard this new peace like heaven guards its gates. Because the enemy doesn't stop after you walk away. He circles back through memories, through guilt, through what if. And your next battle will not be with them. It will be with the echo. The echo of their absence will try to sound like regret. But Michael reminds you, obedience never produces loss. Every sacrifice you made was a seed, not a waste. You didn't abandon love. You honored truth. You didn't give up. You rose up. And what's being built now can't include old patterns. That's why your new season feels so unfamiliar. Because it's not recycled pain. It's uncharted promise. You've never been here before, and that's a good thing. God does not restore halfway. He completes what he begins. Now that you're free, your discernment must become sharper. You can't welcome the same spirit wearing a new face. The enemy studies your patterns, too. He knows where to press, how to appear harmless. Michael says, test every spirit, even the familiar ones. Not everyone smiling carries sacred intentions. Some will be drawn to your light, not to love it, but to control it, harvest it, or stand in its shadow. You don't owe access to everyone who claps. You owe obedience to the discernment God sharpened in you. You'll be tempted to prove you've changed by being nice. But niceness is not righteousness. Boundaries are. You are allowed to protect what God built in you. You are allowed to say no without explanation. You are allowed to walk away without permission. Michael did not war for your freedom just to see you apologetic. This peace you now carry is not random. It's a reward. Guard it like treasure. Guard it like prophecy. Because what's ahead is greater than what's behind. And it requires all of you, not a compromised version. Type I am guarded to get the blessing 4848. The enemy cannot destroy what you protect with truth. This is why clarity must remain your closest companion. You can no longer afford the cost of spiritual dullness. Every conversation, every connection must be evaluated. Does it bring peace or confusion? Does it water your soul or drain your mind? Michael reminds you, confusion is never from God. And anything that demands you abandon peace is demonic. Your job now is not to heal others at your expense. It's to obey, protect, and remain available to divine flow. This next chapter will demand your full attention. Distraction is no longer a luxury you can afford. Because your name is on schedules in heaven. Appointments that require clarity, confidence, and authority. Michael has already cleared your path. Now you must walk it. And every step must be firm, not hesitant. The days of tiptoeing around other people's insecurity are over. You will no longer shapeshift to keep peace with poison. You will no longer explain your anointing to confusion. You are called, and that is reason enough. You are now in a prophetic position of influence. Whether through your voice, your presence, or your journey, others will look to you as evidence of restoration. Don't try to be perfect, just be obedient. Let your discernment lead. Let your spirit speak. And let your story remain a reminder of God's mercy. You survived spiritual abuse, manipulation, and delay. Now you thrive under the weight of heaven's glory. And that glory cannot be shared with sabotage. Keep your gates holy. This is sacred ground now. Type I am protected to get the blessing 1212. Even as you rise, remember, stillness is power. You don't need to rush to make up for lost time. What was delayed is being restored with acceleration. Heaven wastes nothing. Not your tears, your silence, your obedience. Michael urges you to walk slowly but surely. Move only when peace leads. Speak only when spirit prompts. You are no longer who they broke. You are who God rebuilt. And you must now protect that rebuilding with holy boundaries. This is not the end of a journey. It's the beginning of legacy. Guard it well. Live it fully. Rise and never shrink again. This is your moment to breathe, to rest, to stand tall. You've crossed a spiritual threshold that few are willing to face. You didn't just walk away from someone. You walked into yourself. Archangel Michael has witnessed every internal war, every silent decision, every tear you hid behind strength, and every moment you stayed loyal to pain. But no more. That version of you is gone. The chains have fallen. Heaven is no longer waiting, it's responding. Because you finally obeyed. You trusted the whisper. You honored the warning. You acted in truth. And now, restoration will pour like rain on every place you once felt dry. You are not returning to who you were. You are stepping into who you've become. You look back on June 30th as the day everything changed. Not because the world shifted, but because you did. The silence of God has turned into the sound of alignment. The heaviness is lifting. The fog is clearing. The oil is flowing. Michael walks beside you still, but not as a rescuer now, as a witness. Heaven is proud, not because you were perfect, but because you were obedient. You made a holy decision, and heaven has made a holy response. Doors are opening. People of peace are approaching, and your name is being mentioned in rooms of destiny. This is only the beginning of what your freedom will birth. Protect it. Guard it. Celebrate it. Don't return to what you had to heal from. Don't explain your boundaries to those who broke them. And don't apologize for being free. This freedom was fought for. You are no longer surviving. You are thriving, chosen, marked, protected. This is your time. This is your space. This is your rise. And as you move forward, never forget what you left behind, not in bitterness, but in wisdom. Because your future is far too sacred to risk repeating what was. Now rise. Breathe. Walk in favor. And never look back. If this word has confirmed your spirit and awakened your boldness, consider supporting with a super thanks of $20. Your support allows us to keep releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength for others walking through betrayal into blessing. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance tailor-made for your breakthrough. Type I am free forever to seal the blessing 7777. You're no longer under attack. You're under assignment. And heaven will never let you walk this alone again. Go forward. Go boldly. You made it.